Hi, my name is Kirtana and my metric number is AA241806. Today I'd like to talk about our visit to the FKMP biodiesel plant at Uthm. This visit helped us learn about the biodiesel production process and how renewable energy works. We also gained knowledge about safety, environmental awareness and real engineering application. So next slide is about itinerary for the day. We started with registration and breakfast at College Kediaman Pago from 6:45 to 7:15 a.m. After that, we departed to UTH Parit Raja at 7:15 a.m. At 8:30 a.m., there was a briefing and promotion session at the big stage PTTA. Next, from 9:15 to 11 a.m., we visited the biodiesel pilot plant at UTHM G9 for industrial visit, Q&A, and photo session. Finally, from 11 to 12:15 p.m., we returned to the College Kediaman Pago.
My name is Tiloshni Rajan. My metric number is AA240016. So the purpose of the visit is first is to understand the biodiesel production process and equipment involved. Second is to observe thermodynamic application such as heat transfer and energy efficiency. So the third is to identify safety practices for handling flammable materials, and afterwards is to learn about environmental management in chemical process, and lastly is engage in Q&A session with plant personnel to clarify technical details.
This slide shows the main equipment used at the FKMP biodiesel plant. The first one is heat exchanger, which preheats raw materials and maintains the reaction temperature. The distillation unit separates excess methanol for use. The reactor converts oil into biodiesel and glycerol. Finally, the cooling tower removes excess heat and prevents overheating. The next one is centrifugal pumps, which transfers fluids between units. The piping system connects all the process units. Valves and fittings control flow and ensure the safety. Storage tanks store raw materials and biodiesel, while the boiler provides heat for the process. That's all.
Hi, my name is Sharni and my number is AA240323. So now I'm going to explain about application of thermodynamic. First application is energy conversion. Thermodynamic explains how chemical energy in oil is converted into biodiesel through the reaction process. Second application is phase separation. Heat is supplied to the reactor to maintain the required temperature so the reaction can occur efficiently. Third application is heat transfer. Difference in density and physical properties allow biodiesel and glycerol to separate after the reaction. Fourth and the last application is energy efficiency. Energy balance is used to reduce heat loss and improve overall process efficiency. So now I'm going to explain about challenges and innovation. The challenges we might face is safety risk. Flammable chemical like methanol requires strict safety control to prevent fire or explosion. Second challenges is equipment corrosion. Alcohol and chemical can cause corrosion especially since the plant is not operated continuously. Third challenges is process consistency. Different operator may cause variation in biodiesel quality. Fourth challenges is waste management. Byproducts such as glycerol and wastewater must be handled according to environmental regulation. Last is innovation. Automation and better heat exchanger design help to improve safety and terminal efficiency.
Answers to question asked during the visit. So the question 1 is, what type of risk assessment is conducted for potential fire or explosion exit involving methanol or ethanol? So the answer is, main point for the question is, a high risk assessment is conducted at the plant. So the assessment focuses on methanol and ethanol exit. So the potential fire and explosion risks are identified. So the proper ventilation and grounding system are installed. Fire resistant storage containers are used. So emergency response equipment is provided. So question 2 is, how does the plant manage correction and scaling in the reactor or heat exchanger since it is a pilot plant and not operated continuously? So the answer is for this question. So the main points are, The equipment is cleaned after each production batch. So chemical descaling agents are applied to prevent scaling. So corrosion resistant coatings are used on internal surfaces. So the equipment is kept dry during shutdown periods. So finally, the regular inspection are carried out by technician. Question 3. Are the challenges in maintaining consistent biodiesel quality when different students operate the process each semester? So the answers: biodiesel quality may vary due to different student operators. So standard operating procedures are strictly followed. Trained technicians supervise all operations. So key process parameters are standardized. So the final consistent biodiesel quality is maintained. So the final question: what procedure are used to manage glycerol and wastewater? And must the plant comply with DOE regulations? So the answer is the plant complies with Department of Environment regulation. So the glycerol is collected in designated containers. So the waste material are handled by licensed contractors. Wastewater is neutralized and filtered before disposal. Finally, environmental pollution is prevented. Thank you.
For plant overview, biodiesel is a renewable fuel made from plant oils, animal fats, or used cooking oils, and it is chemically known as fatty acid methyl ester. At Uthm, biodiesel production is studied using a small-scale pilot plant designed for learning and research purpose. This facility allows students to understand biodiesel production process in a safe and controlled environment. Students gain hands-on experience by controlling temperature and pressure, monitoring the process purification process, and testing biodiesel quality. They also learn how plant equipment such as pumps, valve, piping system, and storage tank operate while understanding safety and risk management. Biodiesel helps reduce greenhouse gas emission and harmful pollutants compared to conventional diesel, and research at UTM emphasizes sustainability to ensure all activities are environmentally responsible and comply with safety standards. Biodiesel helps reduce greenhouse gas emission and harmful pollutants such as carbon monoxide and particulate matter compared to conventional diesel. However, these environmental benefits depend on the sustainable selection and management of feedstocks. Research at UTM also emphasizes sustainability, ensuring that experiment and research do not harm the environment and comply with safety standards. For conclusion, the visit to the Uthm biodiesel pilot plant provides students with hands-on experience of how biodiesel is produced, including monitoring temperature, pressure, and flow while emphasizing the importance of safety and environmental sustainability. During the visit, the function of each component such as pumps, motors, cooling tower, heat exchangers, and valve was explained in detail. Students were also guided to understand each process and the reason behind it. This activity helped us grasp the application of thermodynamic principle in an industrial setting.